As we proceed to give you what you need. Not five motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers. As we proceed to give you what you need. Not five motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers.
Now turn the mics up. Turn that mic up. Yeah, the beat is knocking. Leave that mic up though. Turn that shit the fuck up. What? Turn it up louder. Yeah. Who shot ya? Separate the weak from the opsa. Leap hard to creep them Brooklyn streets. It's on, nigga. Fuck all that bickering beef. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek. Your heartbeat sound like Sasquatch feet. Thundering, shaking the concrete. Then the shit stopped when I fall the plot. Neighbors call the cops, said they heard mad shots. Saw me in the drop, 3 1/4. Slaughter, electrical tape around the daughter. Old school, new school, need to learn though. I burn, baby, burn like disco inferno. Burn slow like blunts with yayo. Peel more skins than Idaho potato. Niggas know the lyrical molesting is taking place. Fucking with B.I.G. it ain't safe. I make your skin chafe. Rashes on the masses. Bumps and bruises. Blunts and Land Cruisers. Big Papa smash fools, bash fools. Niggas mad because I know the cash rules. Everything around me, 2 Glock 9s. Any motherfucker whispering about mine. And I'm Brooklyn's finest. You rewind this, bad boys behind this. I seen the light, excite all the freaks. Stack mad chips, spread love with my peeps. Niggas wanna creep, got to watch my back. Think the cognac and endo sack make me slack. I switches all that, cocksucker G's up. One force move, get Swiss cheese up. Clip detect, respect, I demand it. Slip and break the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not fuck with North Sea Papa. Feel 1,000 deaths when I drop ya. I feel for you like Shaka Khan, I'm the Don. Pussy when I want Rolex on the arm. You'll die slow but calm. Recognize my face so there won't be no mistake. So you know where to tell Jake, lame nigga, brave nigga. Turn front page nigga, Puff Daddy flips daily. I smoke the blunts, he sips on the Baileys. On the rocks, tote blocks at christenings. Hammer cop in the fire positioning. What? Come here. Open your fucking mouth. Open your, did I tell you don't fuck with me? Huh? Did I tell you not to fuck with me? Huh? Look at you now. Huh? Can't talk with a gun in your mouth, huh? Bitch ass nigga. What? Who shot you? Who shot you? What you wanna do? What you wanna do?
We Japanese still. You can cook in front of your family like a Japanese meal. They shall shoot the hibachi and none of you niggas can stop me. Can't help but watch me. So look, bro. I was talking with the gang, the Yap gang, you understand? We was discussing a few things. I was on Reddit. We saw a few things. And also just collectively over the few years of us, examining DNA and learning about ancestry, paternally and maternally, that a lot of African American males have an issue with accepting the results. They have an issue with accepting their ancestral ties, especially when it goes to a people group that their faction, their church, their Israelite sect, their Afrocentric channel, YouTube channel, or what have you, has an issue with. And we keep seeing that repeated thing. Someone would take a DNA test that's of the African American variety and then discover that they are connected with ancient people of the British Isles or ancient people of the Bell Beaker culture or ancient Balkans or ancient Spanish peoples, or we can go on and on and on, ancient Romans, and it's upsetting to them. And even in some cases, Ashkenazi Jewish people. Some people have taken the test. I see this more so with African American males, as I see them complaining about it or trying to explain away their results instead of embracing their results. So I got it the gang tonight, man, so we can discuss the legacy and ancestry of these groups that for some reason they don't want to accept. I think a lot has to, our ideas of race play a part. With Black Hebrew Israelites, they always try to condemn people that are European or European lineage. So once they find out they themselves are of European lineage via 23andMe, DNA test, ancestry, or whatever, they can't cope with that. So I got my family here. We're about to unpack this and discuss this. My brother Avery, the savant from the Levant. What's going on, brother?
Yo, what's up? Can't wait to get into tonight's video. I know one particular haplogroup that I want to cover that African American males have is haplogroup O. That one is obscure. A lot of people don't know about O, probably never even heard of the O haplogroup, but it is found among African Americans. And on top of that, it's actually found among a very famous, influential African American comedic family. And we'll get into that tonight. But yeah, so let's get into these different Y chromosomes that the African American male population carry. Let's do it.
We got my sister Shari, the Luminari, in the building. What's going on, sister?
Shalom, shalom. I'm just here to troll y'all.
And we got the forbidden one. Orthodox Moore. What's going on, brother?
Peace. What it is. You already know what it is, fair. I'm here to trouble Shari.
What's your overall,
steal my stuff?
What's your overall talk about stealing? What's your overall thesis or thoughts on this African American men taking DNA tests and being upset with the results?
My overall general thought on the thing is it's sad that people are conditioned or have conditioned themselves to be ashamed about where they come from. At the end of the day, the human family is all interconnected. At the end of the day, you don't really control where you come from, so it's not like it's not something that you should be ashamed of, right?
Right.
Me, I'm like, you can go over all my DNA, right? I'm the most mixed individual in the App gang, right? And I'm literally proud of all my ancestry. There's none of it that I reject, right? whether it be my West African ancestry, my North African ancestry, my Southern European ancestry, my Native American ancestry. I mean, I like a lot of people when they take DNA tests, like they want to find out that they're pure or something, right? Well, you're a pure human being, fam. It is what it is. But like when it comes to like being pure African, or people got this idea like both my parents are black, therefore I'm black, blah blah blah, whoop de whoop, and all that goes out the window sometimes when you take a DNA test because you find out, well, okay, maybe that's not always the case or whatnot. Maybe I got admixture, or maybe so. For instance, I'm 1/8 Native American, but that's enough for me. Right, that's enough for me to end up being having a Native American mitochondrial haplogroup. Right, I'm not ashamed of that in any way, shape, or form. I love that. Like I love the history I connect to. It takes me around the world. It's super interesting, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. There's something in every culture you can find and be proud of. Right, there's something in every culture you can find and not like. Right. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like rejecting where you come from is like you're rejecting a part of yourself, right? There's no reason for that. Like that right there is like a self-hatred kind of thing, or like I'm only going to like the African ancestor me and reject the colonizer. Like, bro, fam. Like, so first and foremost, a lot of people make assumptions like, okay, if I have R1B or I have this or I have that, I must have got it from a slave master or whatnot. No, that's not always the case. Like sometimes, like, so for instance, like look at people like Marcus Garvey, whatnot, right? Like he descends from a man in Spain or whatnot, but he also came through the slave trade or whatnot. His family, his male lineage came through the slave trade. So it's not always what you think, fam. Like people need to slow down and recognize that the slave trade was a really complicated event. It took a lot of people from a lot of different places. And sent them through a lot of similar ports and whatnot, and mixed a lot of people up and whatnot. We're not all one people in terms of like where we come from in our modern lineage or whatnot. You go back far enough, yeah, we're all the same people. So there's nothing about your ancestry you should be ashamed about, fam. At the end of the day, we're all cousins somewhere. I'll leave it there because I'm being long-winded.
That's a fact. Eva, you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I would say like us as African Americans, like I would say we're a pretty unique human population. I would say that in a sense, and some people may agree or disagree with this, but I would say that we're somewhat of a new ethnic group. Our admixture is very, very specific. Like most African Americans have a little bit of Native American ancestry, and then they have a little bit of European ancestry, and then of course they have West and Central African ancestry, and that specific genetic mix will probably only exist within our time of the 21st century. I don't think you'll have this specific mix, let's say 1,000 years from now, because for one, I don't think Native Americans, the population, the genome is going to be around 1,000 years from now. And so in this period of time, we as a people, just even talking about autosomes solely, are extremely unique. And now when we get into Y chromosomes and mtDNA chromosomes, that even furthers our uniqueness because we have R1B, I, G2A4, Q in terms of the Y chromosome, E1B1A, E1B1B in terms of the Y chromosomes. But mtDNA wise, we are still diverse. We have L3, H, R, L1B1A, L2, etc. So we're a very blended ethnic group, a blended people. And I would say we're very unique in that manner. There's not too many people on the planet that can say they have Native American ancestry in terms of the autosomes, of course. So yeah, that's African as well, specifically.
Shar, you got anything that you want to add before we carry on?
Yeah, just embrace the history and the migration patterns of your ancestors, and you know, if you're a proponent of having bucket lists and you want to travel and things like that, you know, make it personal and travel to the places in the regions that are marked in your ancestry, and embrace, look into, research the different cultures and educate yourself on the different histories and things like that. So then you can tell your family, you can tell your friends about the richness that is you, that makes up you.
Yeah. That's a good way of looking at it. Making a travel guide, or designations on the global map. I want to say this though. I want to say this because y'all know my history. Everybody watching, and of course, everybody on the panel. I was part of the biggest pseudo sect. I was one of the biggest internet pseudos, and I would read a lot of pseudo sources. And what I find very ironic, learning about DNA and ancestry, paternal and maternal and autosomal, right? Learning about these things, you know, the people that taught from J.A. Rogers, all these different pseudo sources that we've known to draw and collect from, the people that taught from it, I've inserted the name a few. I mean, did y'all really believe what y'all are reading? Because here's the thing. When I read J.A. Rogers, a lot of that was about Germany, France, different European polities, different kings, um, coat of arms, and how somehow African Americans or Black people were connected to these European polities. The reason why I bring it up, when we brought these type of sources, we'll say, well, we're connected to these things, Henry VIII, so on and so forth. Well, now, we have an influx of African American males, and we did the math before we got on here. If we, all things being relative and proportionate, if there's 20 million African American males and 50% or 55% of them are E1B1A, that would mean 10 to 11 million of them would be E1B1A. And if R1B carriers is about 25% of that pie, that would mean there's about 5 million African American males with R1B. With that being stated, that means that's 5 million African Americans that actually do descend from European polities and kingdoms, aristocracy, and stuff of that nature. You actually do have that lineage, and DNA is bearing that out. So what I find strange and what I find weird, especially now since we're reviewing knowing history or without history, and he's making all these claims of Egypt, China, and how they're Africans and how that's somehow our people. Well, actually, just like Avery brought up about China, you do have African Americans that have the Chinese haplogroup, that actually do have paternally and maybe maternally ancestors that stem back to the land of China, in years past. Same thing with Europe. You got men and women that have ancestry that goes back to those lands. I don't know why it's such a hard pill to swallow when for all these years, these pseudo groups, like I'm one of them. We taught that, hey, our ancestors ruled in Europe. Our ancestors was all over this area, the Silk Road. A lot of you guys love bringing up the Silk Road. Okay, so why is it an issue then when you find out that, hey, genetically you actually do descend and go back to those lands? If anybody want to touch on that before we continue.
It becomes an issue because you already have a precept of who you are. You already have a bias based on whatever doctrine that you hold. So you you want to be, West African king and tied to that, or you want to be West African Israelites, or you want to be North African Israelites. You just want to be whatever you want to be. And then you do your DNA and it's like, I was wrong. But instead of just being like, okay, well, I'm going to embrace who I actually am and what the DNA says, it's like, nope, I don't care. DNA is wrong. It doesn't matter. I think that I am this, so therefore I am this.
Self-determination, right? Well, you know what's strange about that? Because our fellow brethren, Teo ministries. They taught that their people came from Morocco and Spain. And so what's the issue? Spain is Southern Europe. Morocco is Northern Africa. What's the issue? That's not Western Central, Africa. That's not, Gambia or anything like that. So I'm trying to figure out, you having a haplogroup that's not associated with these other African groups normally, all right? You're claiming to be from Spain, and that one of their theories is that their ancestors were Israelites that were exiled from Babylon, and then they made a trek from Babylon all the way to Spain and then into Morocco. So shouldn't you be happy and rejoicing that your ancestry is actually found within the continent of Europe, one, associated with the Caucasus, especially with those brothers, they G2A. My thing is, why not embrace it if it's validating your imaginary migratory route? Ruddy Brew, he said, covered this in my last video. Anybody familiar with Ruddy Brew? I'm not familiar with Ruddy Brew.
I don't know, actually. That's a good question. I think, isn't he in Berean's chat?
He's a regular over here, actually.
Oh, okay. I thought he was from Berean. Oh.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the channel.
Oh.
We gotta check your channel out, man.
Yeah, I gotta
check you out, bro.
I just think it's a very strange dynamic going on here where they actually do have ancestry to these places they claim that they've been claiming for years that they're associated with, and they're mad about it. Are they upset with the result? Are they trying to explain it away?
But you gotta share it with quote unquote white people, then it becomes a problem.
That's the issue. There we go.
At the end of the day, that's a form of racism, fam. Like, the only reason you're tripping on is because, like, you're feeling some kind of way about that, right? And there's no reason to, right? There's none. Like, we was a mixed bag in Africa before we came over here as slaves and whatnot, right? Like, so we're talking about R1B being in Europe, right? We was just looking up R1B V88 that you can find in West Africa, Central Africa all day, right? Amongst people like the Fulani and other people, right? Well, that comes in from migration from Europe anyway. Like, so my man's talking about, like, he was just saying like there's G2A in Morocco. Well, there's G2A in Europe. So you got G2A in Africa, G2A in Europe. You got R1B to Africa, R1B in Europe. You got E1B1 A in Africa. You can find E1B1A in Europe. You can find E1B1B in Africa, E1B1B in Europe. Like, you can find J1 in Africa, J2 in Africa, J1, J2. Like, it doesn't matter, fam. It really don't matter. That's what the thing that gets me is, like, so is in the communities we typically came from and whatnot. Like, I went through this too, you shoot, right? Like, coming out the Moorish Science Temple of America, right? Like, so with the Moors and whatnot, and their literature, Marcus Garvey is literally like he's like a John the Baptist character, right? And he's a prophetic character, whatnot, right? There was one year where they started going crazy about, like, well, what's going on about, like, they're like, you can't trust DNA, and DNA don't tell you where you come from, and blah blah blah. The literature literally says, like, you are what your forefathers are without doubt or contradiction, right? You can't change that, right? And I always dug that concept. That was like the whole basis of like in the temple, people were connecting to a previous nationality, right? Like, this is what our forefathers were beforehand, etc. And so I was trying to figure, well, what's the issue now? Because they're like, oh yeah, you can't trust DNA testing. DNA tests don't change where you come from, and blah blah blah. I was like, well, what's going on? Just so happens this is when they find out that, you know what I'm saying, this is around the time period where you find out that Marcus Garvey again goes back to a man in Spain with the R1B. And so it kind of messes up their concept. It was like, well, how do you explain the fact that he's a black dude, but go back to Spain and blah 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 blah? Let it go. Let it go, fam. Because in these communities, for some reason, this is what trips me out. This is something we found to be a consistent concept, right? It's like some of the most racist people in the game, right? Are the people who are the most, or the people who are the most supremacists in the game, or people who are separatists in the game, right? They tend to be people who have these European lineages and whatnot. but then are trying to be like the most blackety black person in the game and whatnot. And it just looks crazy when you sit back and look at the information. It's like, wait a minute, none of this shakes out. This is crazy. And we need to let it go, fam. This is one of the beautiful things about DNA. This is one of my favorite things about DNA is it washed me of any residual racism I had. And it can do the same thing for anybody. And it should do the same thing for anybody. If we can go to North Africa right now and see the same beefs and whatnot, right? We got people in the North African Berber communities who want to deny where they come from or deny that the people that they descend from looked a whole lot different than what they currently do, right? And they want to deny the history as to what changed their phenotypes and whatnot. But at the same point in time, like no one can deny that they come from where they come from because they still have the haplogroups of their forefathers and whatnot, right? So when they talk about like we're ancestrally still the same people, you know what? They got a point. You can't knock it. They phenotypically look man different than what they started off as, right? But they're still the same people when it comes to that paternal descent. Generation after generation after generation. They can look different, but still be the same people. And there's nothing wrong with that on either side, going in any direction. And anybody tripping on any little aspect of any of it, fam, phenotype, lineage, what it all comes down to some form of racism and whatnot. Don't make it a form of self-hatred. There's no need for that. You don't got to be like 1,000,000%. Like, so let's say you find out you got some European ancestry and whatnot, right? Ain't no one saying like you got to like start reading Lord of the Rings and getting into, you know what I'm saying?
Although that is a good book series.
You know what I'm saying? No one's saying you got to start learning German or what, like, bro, like, okay, like if it floats your boat, cool. But at the very least, there's no reason to look down your nose at the thing, fam. Just accept it for what it is. And you know what? You might really want to know what's up with it because it could have like in terms of genetics or whatnot, people get stuck on phenotype. All that stuff matters medically, etc. whatnot. That's a real big deal. So you might want to understand, like, there's reasons to understand that part of your history and lineage and whatnot, because it can have a lot of effects on your current life and how you live your life in the future based upon on health aspects and whatnot. Because there's a lot of aspects of health that are specific to genomes and populations and whatnot. And so if you're inheriting DNA from certain populations, you want to know that. Like my man was talking about people inheriting Ashkenazi Jewish ancestry and being ashamed about it. You know what? There's a lot of particular ailments that are specific to that community and whatnot. And so you might be having an issue and not knowing what's going on and whatnot, and be like, oh, what? Now I know based upon my DNA, I got this issue over here that's specific to this community based upon my DNA. Oh, now it all lines up. Now everything makes sense. But you could be ignorant of that beforehand, and you could reject that information. And be like, okay, like let's say you find out you got a specific illness, right, or a genetic issue that Ashkenazi Jews have or whatnot, and you don't like the fact that you got Ashkenazi Jewish DNA, right? Well, you're just going to reject that it's there. Like, no, you know what? I'm not going to accept this. I'm just going to put it off. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to pretend I don't got this stuff. Bro, you got a whole situation. You got a medical situation you got to deal with. What you put your head in the sand? It's the ostrich demonstration? No, you got to be realistic and deal with that stuff. Okay, I got this. What do I do now? Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm so about.
Yeah, man. No, bring it out, man. You know, you gotta like, because first of all, you know, hopefully somebody out there that takes their DNA test will eradicate some of those teachings and ideology that's making them feel like that in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll make you take a step back. Oh, maybe I shouldn't go out here and condemn random white people and say they're going to die or they're going to be put into slavery because by virtue of their skin color, whatever, by virtue of what ancestry you think they have, and you have that ancestry. Maybe they'll make you take a step back, you know. Maybe they'll embolden you. So, I mean, great points. But Sankofa, I want you to join the chat and explain what you're saying here, specifically on why because you might be right, but I want to know why you went straight to more, the more identity. And then I just want to share some information on I1 with you, if you will, brother. So the link is in the chat, and we can discuss that as well. Ruddy Brew, you're welcome to come on to the panel. and discuss that. How music, of course, you're always welcome to come on the show. But I think it's a serious topic. I'm just curious on why Sankofa, why you jump straight to the Moors, the I1 haplogroup.
Yeah, I was looking at that comment too. I was wondering if he was going to leave another comment to kind of clarify.
There's some clarity. Yeah.
Because they do have a lot of haplogroup I in Spain. Like when you go into some of the bodies and whatnot, that might be why.
Yeah, I realized that, but I'm wondering why he.
Yeah, why he went straight to more? Yeah, exactly. Because like,
because
in America, we can see. Here's the thing, though, and this is the whole point. Like we can, like he can legit get that haplogroup I like from one of a multitude of different directions, man.
Right. The thing about haplogroups is we got to look into the subclades. There's different subclades within these haplogroups. Like a person with E1B1A couldn't claim that they're omotic just because the omotic population has E1B1A, because they have their own subclade.
Yeah, right. That's completely unique that you don't really see in West Africa.
It's a E1B1A2, E-M329.
Yep.
So we got to look into these subclades. I made a post not too long ago explaining how it's impossible to prove if you descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, because there's tons of different subclades of J. And the same is true with E1B1A. There's tons of different subclades.
Right. And exactly. 100%. So Sankofa Life says that's what it said in Moorish. So what test did you take that said Moorish?
Right. And what's the specific?
Was it the My True Ancestry test or something else?
Right. And what specific subclade, what specific downstream of I1 do you possess? Because there's different subclades that you might find predominantly in Nordic countries. There's some you might find predominantly in Sardinia, predominantly in Spain. And I'm not denying that you have Moorish ancestry. Don't get me wrong. But I just want to know what subclade.
And and on a historical level, like this is why this is an interesting concept, right? Because for instance, you have the Goths and the Visigoths going into North Africa, etc., whatnot, right? Spain and North Africa. And so you have them in different waves for different reasons. So like at one portion you have like a Christian wave going in trying to take some stuff over, and then on a whole other concept you have people doing what's called going Turk, to where they're literally like converting to Islam and going into North Africa, right? Large number and whatnot. And so there's, and this is the thing about lineage, fam. Like you could have like the same haplogroup as two different groups of the same people, right? Like so that you could be descended from one of from the wave that came through with Christianity, or the one that came through with Islam, etc., whatnot, and have the same haplogroup and whatnot, right? Like so. Lineage gets real complicated. History gets real complicated, and the more you get into genetics, and the more you get into history, the more you recognize everything's not as black and white as you thought it was. It's not even as close to black and white as you thought it was, right? There's nuance to everything. So yes, you could literally be haplogroup I and descend from a Moorish population. People need to understand that, because a lot of people will be like, "Oh no, that's obviously he's on some Viking type stuff." You know what I'm saying? That's a Scandinavian, you know what I'm saying? Well, yeah, like that is true, right? Just like so. For instance, again, I'll say his name again, Marcus Garvey, descended from R1B from a man from Spain, right? Like again, like we can see Moorish populations to where there's R1B amongst Moorish populations, right? Is there R1B amongst Christian populations there too? Yeah, 100%, fam. 100%. Like your DNA ain't going to tell you 100% about what your history was or whatnot, right? But it's gonna put you in a vicinity where you can start checking some stuff out for yourself or whatnot, right? But it's gonna be more complicated than what you think. Like so, it's not just as simple as, oh, you got this haplogroup, you come from this spot, and you descend from this, and that's it. Blah blah blah. Nah, fam. There's nuance to how history works or whatnot, right? So you could have whatever lineage and change nationalities, change religions, change all kind of stuff, fam. You can fight on both sides of wars or whatnot, fam. It doesn't. History is a crazy thing. History is a totally crazy thing. That's why, like, there's no reason to reject it out of hand. There's no reason to.
Yeah. Hey, brother, if you want to come on and speak your piece, man, you can. You know.
Did he see the link? We dropped it a while
Yeah,
back.
links in the chat.
It's there.
But yeah, I'm curious what it is. But yeah.
Yeah, we all have overlapping genetics. You know what I'm saying? Haplogroup I it's got overlapping in genetics with it as well. And I'll just ask that question to see where you're going to give me a Africanity answer. You know, well that's the African side, so that's why I really was trying to probe from the brother.
I need that on the shirt. My G said Africanity, bro.
Yeah, the Africanity of it, man.
I need that on the shirt.
We're going down that route.
Because then I was going to say, okay, if you accept that side because of its association with Africans, what about the other side that is associated with Europeans and more?
Right.
Yeah.
I also think it's important to note that every single Moor wasn't black. You did have black Moors, but Moors and the Berbers and the Arabs that came into Spain, they had a variety of phenotypes.
Facts, 100%.
Oh, wait a minute. This is the brother from Clubhouse, man.
Really? Which one? Because there was a
he told us he was I1. I forgot his name, man. Come on, man. Get on the stream, bro. He's from Dallas. I know this brother. You don't remember him?
I have to hear his voice because we spoke to a lot of people.
Yeah, we spoke to a lot of people on Clubhouse.
I can't remember his name, man.
Because if you had said Adam, I know Adam. You know, but
for real, yeah.
Kenny Love. There he is.
Oh, Kenny.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
It's been a while since I spoke to Kenny. Yeah, come on the panel.
Hey, on some whole other stuff, right? Like there's situations to where like again, dealing with his haplogroup in particular, talking about some more stuff, right? Like so one of my favorite stories in the mythologies growing up was like the King Arthur mythology, whatnot, right? And I was in my late teens, early 20s when I found out that like when you get to the round table part or whatnot, there's a large, like a good chunk of the people are Moorish or Saracens and whatnot, right? Some come from Syria, some come from Moorish parts of Africa and whatnot, right? And so you have like a King Arthur legend, like a European like knights legend, and all this kind of stuff, right? But you have African characters there and whatnot. You can see the blending culture and whatnot. And there's historic overlap with that, to where like you have Moors dealing with kings in England, etc., whatnot. And you have these cultures going back and forth for a long time and whatnot, right? So when you have that, this is what people need to understand about culture, lineage, ethnicity, nationality. Like all this stuff is tricky. All this stuff is real intricate, and has a lot of nuance to it and whatnot, right? So this is why it shouldn't just be scoffed at, rejected out of hand, or thought that it's a real simple thing. Like genetics, it's like once you get to genetics, like if you don't get humble, you ain't looked at it hard enough, fam. I'm just gonna say it like that. If you don't get humbled, you definitely ain't looked at it hard enough. If it ain't brought you to your knees one good time, no, bro. You doing cursory searches and whatnot. You ain't really studying the thing.
No, that's a big fact. Like when it comes to this whole Israelite situation, like I'm at the point, because I always kind of had the belief that Abraham could have been like potentially E1B1B as an example. But even with that, I'm at the point that no one today can definitively prove that they descend eternally from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I will say that I believe the lineage exists, but everybody fighting and cursing each other out and going at each other, trying to prove that they descend from Abraham. It's like when you look into the genetics, and like what Moore says, you humble yourself and actually learn this, you quickly come to the realization that no one on this planet can definitively prove 100% that they descend from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Like all this fighting is kind of silly and ridiculous.
Yeah, and posturing over polemical arguments and whatnot that you can't even prove. Like, because the one thing we can all agree on facts is like we don't have any patriarchal DNA. Therefore, every argument is speculative at this juncture, right?
Exactly. Like I would say, I believe Abraham is
right.
E1B1B.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And here's my reasons as to why I believe he's E1B1B and stuff like that. So.
I believe he R1B. Let me tell you why. There's a 12 tribes chart out there that says those are the sons of Jacob. And we know Jacob came from Abraham, right? No, he came from Abraham. So if those guys on that chart are the sons of Jacob and ultimately Abraham, then that would mean that he would have to be some kind of clade R1b, because I was told that those people on that chart fit a curse, and the curse is what signifies, solidifies and cements their ancestry.
You know what? Abraham could be haplogroup P. That produced both R and Q. So
now on some real stuff though, like he actually legit could. Like you can make a case for E, like E1B1B, like he was talking about. You can make a case for R1B. You can make a case for T. You can make a case for J1. You can make these cases because like we can find these haplogroups in the area at the right times and whatnot, right? But what we don't have, and this is why it's all speculation, we don't have any actual definitive DNA saying this is the one group that he came from, or that any of the patriarchs came from, or whatnot, right? So, like Avery said, at that juncture, just let it go. Like we're speculating. So why spend so much time arguing over speculation? Why not worry about dealing with what we can prove and what we can't prove?
Yes, I would say you'll have a better argument at saying and proving your ancestors being part of the mixed multitude. I think that is a far better thing to look into, because Egypt.
You sound bitter, bro. You're bitter because King David is QL53.
Dang. Yeah,
It could be. Like, check this out. Q's in the area, right? Like, so look, let's say one day we find some DNA that definitively proves that King David is Q. Okay. I promise you, I'm not gonna lose a lick of sleep over that piece, right? Because Avery keeps pointing out, right? The major, like when it comes to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, it's going to be a minuscule group of people that end up having this lineage out of the entire world or whatnot. The majority of people will not descend from that group or whatnot. All the populations that we're talking about that are religious, that are connected to them, they had like a sojourner concept to where you could have people come in and convert to the thing or whatnot, add to the population. So the majority of people that are going to be like national Israelites, etc., whatnot, are not going to be descendants of Abraham, Isaac, or Jacob, right? They're going to be descendants of converts.
Yep, that's a fact. And also, just in terms of salvation, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob being whatever haplogroup ain't going to stop someone from going to heaven. So,
facts.
It's not a salvation issue at all. So.
Mm-hmm.
God doesn't care what haplogroup you have. So.
Facts. Because at the end of the day, the way it works with accumulation, mutation, or mutation accumulation and whatnot, we all go back to Adam, fam. We all go back to Adam, so it doesn't even matter.
From one blood came all the nations of man.
Yeah. And the Quran says it in a nice way. It says, I made you into from a single pair of male and female into many nations and tribes, that you may know each other, not despise the other. That the most righteous of you is righteous in the sight of Allah. Yeah. I like the concept of one concept they have in the Quran that I really dig is the concept of if I could, I would have made you all one people, but I made you different with different cultures and whatnot, that you may race towards righteousness. Like this whole beef about like who's this, who's that, who's not this, who's not that. None of that matters, because all that's all that time you're spending speculating, you're not spending no time taking care of people, fam. You're wasting all that time taking like we could be racing towards righteousness in whatever doctrine we uphold or whatnot. We could be racing towards righteousness and trying to take care of our communities and whatnot. This whole nonsense of wanting to argue about lineage is ridiculous. Utterly ridiculous.
Yeah, to hate other people and stuff over lineage is dumb. I think it's go ahead.
Hating yourself because they got the lineage that they talking about. Self-hatred. And you know what? They used to tell us, you hate yourself. That's why you follow, the pseudo-Israelites or whatever, or that's why you don't want to accept that you're African. And then I found out after my DNA test, I'm African on both my sides. And these guys are European. They come up European paternally. And now they're not, They trying to find every excuse to try to wash away that ancestry, their grandfather or their great grandfather that they come from.
Yep. Like I think about the Abos on Clubhouse, the Aboriginal people, are the people who claim to be Aboriginals. Now, with that being said, I'm not saying that no African American has Q. You can't find Q among the African American population, but most of the people on these panels, just fighting for the fact that there was never a slave trade and we're all natives to this land. It's like, you low-key are kind of hating your West African ancestors if you got E1B1A or L or anything like that. Like, it's crazy when
it ain't low-key, it's straight up, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, thank you, Shari. They're gonna run straight today. If they got African mtDNA, they're gonna identify with that. And I'm like, yo, you're not erasing your male ancestry. That just doesn't work that way. Well, I don't want to choose that. That's a rape. That's the rapist lineage. I heard that when we were on Garfield's channel. I'm like, yo, you don't choose your lineage. You don't choose your grandfathers, your mothers. We don't choose those people.
Hold on. Let's hit the brakes with both feet right quick. So haplogroup E going into West Africa, right?
Yes.
How is like, what if we rejected a haplogroup E based upon the fact that it was the expansionist haplogroup going into West Africa?
We'll only be telling half of the story. We won't be telling the full story of
facts. Say that.
We'll only be telling half the history, half the story of the migration.
Yeah. If I was haplogroup A and B, understand the story is haplogroup E came in a wreck shop. Took all our ladies, messed the whole game up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
right.
So like for them, it's the same story. Like fam, so you're proud. You have no issue being proud to come from haplogroup E going to West Africa, like that came in a wreck shot for haplogroup A and B, like eviscerated the haplogroups, man. Like it truly made them disappear in areas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it will be the equivalent of Hungarians not talking about the Hun expansion and only talking about how Hungarians have always been in Hungary. But it's like, no, y'all came from Central Asia. Y'all descend from the Huns that settled in what is today Hungary. Like it'll be like
right
the story.
Facts. There would be no reason to be proud of coming from haplogroup E in West Africa, but being ashamed of coming from haplogroup R1B from Europe somewhere, or R1B from Africa for that matter, right? The logic doesn't make. The only reason why you're going to be okay with one and reject the others because one's going to have a darker skin than the other or a lighter skin than the other, right? And that's why I'm saying you got to stop and slow down. Like, man, okay, that when I stop and analyze that concept and that logic, that's racist as hell.
Yeah, like when just to add on to that, like when African Americans say that haplogroup I or G or R or like white or white haplogroups or whatever term someone uses, like when I think and hear that, I'm like, bro, all these haplogroups at one point were dark skinned to begin with. Like you go back far enough, everybody was dark skinned, and it's actually like haplogroup R, I, G. Being on this earth, they've been dark skinned longer than they've been light skinned.
Facts.
So it's like the light skin. That's a whole
right
thing.
So the light skinned slave master that you're hating on or whatnot, like when you go back far enough in his lineage, he was just as black as your ancestors.
Shout out to Chatterman.
Shout out to Chatterman, fam.
And Ozzy, who has been reconstructed to being pretty brown and complexion.
Yeah. And that's something I actually agree with the Tail Twins on. They're like, oh yeah, they were originally black. Like, you know what? I'm not mad at you, bro. Like, yeah, the light skin thing is just relatively new. Which means like there's no reason to be racist with it.
I know.
Like if it was there at this is what I'm saying. If it was there at the outset, y'all might have an issue. I'm like, okay, I can see your crazy doctrines and whatnot, right? But that's not how it was, bro. But anyway,
it was gradual.
Yeah.
So on the screen here, I got from the 23andMe Reddit. I believe this is Kevin. He in his account on here. But I'm glad he shared his DNA because his genetic profile is eye-opening, or should be eye-opening, because of the brother's paternal and maternal results. Just as we brought up earlier, some people that get a paternal result that's European or associated with a group they don't like, then they don't want to accept it. It can even be E1B. I even heard arguments like that against E1B1B. Some people have disdain for E1B1B. But this brother also
Dr. Ben Ephraim.
Say it again.
I was saying Dr. Ben Ephraim, who says that E1B1B.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, so this brother paternally is of European stock, and maternally his mother's side is also of European stock. And we all, if you guys are familiar with Kevin, he's African American. You couldn't tell this by looking at him. This is why we keep telling you phenotype is fluid. Yeah. Or keep reminding you that phenotype is fluid, man.
Yeah.
Can't judge someone's ancestry on how they look. Look at his autosomes. You guys always run the autosomal ancestry. Y'all think autosomal ancestry is going to hide your direct ancestry? Or you're using it as like a curtain to stop people from seeing who you directly descend from. This guy is 74% sub-Saharan African. 74%.
That's 3/4, fam. But both sides of his ancestry, maternal and paternal European.
Come on, y'all. And 24% European. On average, African Americans are about 20, 24, 25%.
Yeah. He got that little sliver of yellow. I see it there. I don't know if it's Native American or East Asian or whatnot, but like he daggone there fits the like what Ibree's talking about, like the what the concept of what the African American is on average when it comes to genetics, the mixture of African, European, and Native American ancestry.
Yep.
Almost to the T.
Yep. So you guys can get a real good look at it here and try to blow it.
Oh yeah, that is Kevin G. Yeah. That's Kevin G all day.
Right, and he also shares, unlike Gorilla Hebrew, it's like pulling teeth with that brother. He don't want to share his maternal DNA, as it's most likely European. Until proven otherwise, I don't know what else to say, brother. You're not showing and proving. So down here, he talks about his father's haplogroup which is IM223. We're gonna type that here in Snip Tracker in a minute, and my mother is H6A1B. So maternally and paternally, this brother is European.
That part I think is very interesting. On both sides, both his chromosomes are European. It's pretty interesting.
It says both from the Quarterware and Yamnaya culture. I don't know why wouldn't you be proud of that? What's wrong with the Yamnaya culture or the Quarterware culture where you yourself can't be proud of, hey, I have ancestors that stem back to that? Y'all been watching too much Dr. James Smalls, Dr. Ben, Sonetta, Sarah Susetti, Dr. Reggie. Pretty much anybody in this community got doctor in their name has made y'all hate any ancestry that's outside of what they agree with. Right? Ramal Yahoo, you said I am 78% African. What's your paternal, brother? You've been rocking with us for a while.
I think he is E1B1A.
Oh, he's E1B1A?
Yeah, I think he's E1B1A.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, this brother embraced his ancestry. He ain't got no problem with it.
By the way, he has H. We reviewed a video of an African-American, a young African-American woman who also had H. And she was, for lack of better words, flabbergasted by the results. But one thing I will say, though, about H is that it is also found in North Africa. So who knows? Maybe it's North African H, we got another subclade, the specific subclade that both she had and what Kevin G has. It's probably the European one, but there's a chance it could be the North African one as well.
So explaining his mother and father, right? This would mean that his father ultimately descends from a European male. His mother ultimately descends from a European woman or female, and they got together, but their ancestors mixed in with who? Obviously, people with sub-Saharan African autosomes. So that's why he's got 74% sub-Saharan African, because that's coming from the indirect side of his family, not his maternal and paternal side. I gotta keep stressing that because it's so many pseudos out there that are trying to use autosomes for everything but its purpose.
The same is actually true for E1B1A populations, because E1B1A in its origin wouldn't have been West Central African, autosomally speaking. E1B1A, in terms of its autosomes, may have been more similar to Ibero-Maurusians or something like that. And they would have went into West Africa and admixed with populations there that had the West African autosomes. And so with Kevin G, he kind of reflects that exact same type of history with his European chromosomes admixing with Sub-Saharan African, West Central African peoples.
Oh, wow. This brother here is E2. That's dope. You want to touch on that, YouTube?
Yeah, E2 isn't that found as M75 mutation? That's found in East Africa.
Yeah, that means you're one. You're somebody who's one of them 542,000 that came from the ports of Madagascar and Mozambique. That's dope. Like that's a real unique marker, whatnot. Yeah. So a lot of people want to claim like an East African ancestry or a whole bunch of things and whatnot, and the way you prove that, and shout out to Garfield, because we would argue about this forever and whatnot, and we agreed on the concept of like, yeah, if somebody's going to descend from over there, like you're going to see the haplogroup or whatnot, and this is exactly what we're talking about.
Yeah, and we got women like our sister Shari. She's got a maternal haplogroup that has an Eastern African, North African, and Western Central African dispersion. So, like you can't just put people in boxes, man. But yeah, on the paternal side, E2 brothers that are African American, you most likely came from East. Your ancestors most likely came from East Africa, man.
Yeah, like the Great Lakes region around there. Because it's found among a lot of like Nilotic peoples and stuff.
Which to your point, more it slays that myth that only all the African Americans here only draw their ancestry from West and Central Africa.
Right, 100%.
Remember that Somali dude we were reviewing a few weeks back, and he was basically saying most African Americans don't come from. Well, he is kind of right. Most of us don't come from East Africa, but he tried to make it seem like it's really minuscule. For those of us that come from East Africa.
Like at first it was like nothing. I was like, nah, homie, you gonna put respect on that $500,000.
Yeah, I know, right?
You gonna put respect on that $500,000. But yeah, I got South Asian ancestor too, bro. Because so my maternal. See, this is something that's interesting, right? Like, so my maternal side is we'll say like North African, Southern European, and whatnot, with Native American mixed in as well. But my maternal grandfather is EM34. And what's interesting about my mother's ancestry, like she looks like I could drop her off anywhere in North Africa or Southern Europe and she would blend in anywhere, right? However, I get East African DNA from her that I don't get from my father. And I also get like this brother here, like a South Asian DNA, etc., whatnot. And it comes like so. It seems like my grandfather's people comes from a migration from Yemen to North Africa to Spain and whatnot, and he got that East African DNA and he got that South Asian DNA. Whatever. It tripped me the hell out. Like when I was like, yo, I got East African DNA from my mom's. I was like, yo, what? What's this? Yeah, I got West African DNA from her too. That I didn't get from my dad. I was like, oh, word. That's what I'm saying. When it comes to the DNA fam, like you'd be surprised, like how intricate the stories get and how crazy the stories get and how crazy the migrations get, bro. Like think about it like this. Like my grandfather's people could potentially come from Yemen or whatnot. And wherever they came from before that, right? And now his you know what I'm saying, now we ended up over here, his people ended up over here in the Americas and whatnot, right? Or my mother's people, like again, her mother's people, right? Like A2G. But that came from East Asia and whatnot, all the way over here in the Americas now, right?
Facts, man. Fact. Hey, look at the stream on the snip tracker. Avery, I think that's hitting a little close to home for you, brother. So his mother's side is associated with what's this, north of France right here.
Mm-hmm. Y'all talking about who is that?
Oh, he got like the Norman and the Frank ancestry and whatnot.
Guts it, fool. Y'all talking about him or?
No, this is Kevin G.
Yeah. Oh, Kevin G. Okay, my bad.
Yeah, Kevin G's a whole black Viking in this piece. That's what's up.
For real though, H and
I 100%.
What's subclade of H though? Because like I said earlier,
A1B.
He's looking at it right now.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's definitely Nordic. That's a very Nordic.
Yeah, it developed according to Snip Tracker in the bronze.
That's what's up. Okay.
So both sides.
What's his eye? Did you type in his eye earlier? Because I may not have been looking at the computer.
Yeah, I did. What was it? Let me go back and look at it. M223.
M223. Okay. I didn't see where that one was located.
M223 right here.
Central Europe. All right. Okay.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
So he's Central Northern European. So he's not Yamnaya. He would, in terms of his ancestors, his genome would have been Western European hunter-gatherer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting.
He shouldn't exist according to some of these nut jobs out there.
Facts.
His ancestors almost didn't exist with that.
He's a unicorn. He's a unicorn according to them because he should not be here.
No, you know who's a unicorn? Chris Rock out here being haplogroup B.
Hey.
Like, check this out. Imagine if Chris Rock, his whole stand-up career, he was going in on haplogroup E1, B1A.
Bro, that'd be fun.
For being colonizers or whatnot.
That'd be kind of funny.
Imagine, because that's basically what it is right now. Like, that's what these people are doing and whatnot, right? It'd be the same thing. Like hating on on European haplogroups, it'd be the same thing as Chris Rock talking about y'all ain't really West African.
I mean, technically,
y'all some Johnny come like these West African. You know what I'm saying? Like, dude, come on.
I mean, technically speaking, E1B1A kind of is a colonizer.
That's the whole reason why I'm making the point, Avery.
Colonized sub-Saharan Africa.
That's the whole reason why. That's the whole reason why it's applicable and funny, because it's the same exact comparison, same. And the only reason why people haven't even thought about it before or applied it before is because Chris Rock is black. Like, yeah. And that's why, you know what I'm saying? I'm hoping this is some cold water in the face. That's why I'm trying to use that particular analogy.
Yeah. I mean, when you look at pretty much all of human history, I can't think of any human population that hasn't taken over another human population and colonized the area. I think all humans have expanded their territory and took over land and all that stuff. Everybody's kind of a colonizer in a sense.
But yeah, I mean that's the human history. The reason why we do have transatlantic slave trade because Africans were colonizing, they were pillaging, they were destroying, they were taking. Like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, the Israelites are colonizers. They took over the land of Canaan from the Canaanites.
Bro, there's a scripture that says that there was a tribe of Ham that were taken down, that were peaceful.
Facts.
We ain't bartering nobody.
They weren't doing that to nobody. They still call him, bro.
Come on, bro.
Whole Judges period. Joshua slaying Canaanites.
Come on now.
Whether they were peaceful or not. Although the Gibeonites did, they saw what was up and quickly said, "Hey, we're not Canaanites. We're not them people." Gibeon knew it was up. They were kind of smart, low key.
All right, Remayahu, I need to see that stand up, bro. That's dope. That's because that's a very poignant joke. You know what I'm saying?
Man, y'all know you have these people that won't accept that Israelites were mixed, you know, and they themselves are mixed.
Yo, talking about like, here's the cold part. So me and Bree was dealing with this on Brands the other day. I'm about to upload it to the main channel and whatnot, right? We was dealing with Bruce and whatnot, and Bruce was on some whole like, he was talking. Man, this was sad. We ran through a couple of different scenarios. He checkmated himself in the coldest of ways, right? So he was talking about this concept about being whited out or whatnot. We're like, so what you talking about? He's like, well, you know, it was this bronchiamento concept to where they were trying to white out the gene pool and blah blah whoop whoop. And so like so bottom line, if like the whole tail route, if you're autosomally European enough, it overrides your haplogroup or whatnot. You're not. It's like, oh, word. So okay, so we reversed it on him. I was like, so what if we take like an Ashkenazi Jew and he mixed with like a black Israelite woman? He's like, okay. I was like, so and then that mixed child mixes with another black Israelite woman, and so on down the line or whatnot for enough generations to where like now the child is he looks like a black Israelite or whatnot. Like so, but he descends from an Ashkenazi Jew. So is he an Israelite or no? He's like, oh, well that's up to God to figure out and all this. I was like, well, come on now, homie. I'm like so for instance, like you can like it's crazy. I'm like, I don't know. There's no hope for the thing, right? Because like the one thing that Bruce holds up to is there's a lot of people like Dante and others who talk about like they only mix with Hamitic people, therefore they stay black and whatnot. And so one bro, like Avery, break it down, like because remember when he was basically equating black skin to be an Israelite,
yeah.
Because Avery was like, so okay, what if a Cushite mixes with an Israelite? Are they still an Israelite, or like if a Cushite male mixes with an Israelite woman, or is it still a Cushite or no? He's like, oh, that's up to God to figure out. He's like, well, wouldn't he be a Hamite? And he was like, well, no, because we know the Hamites are black. We were like, huh?
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yeah, because I was basically trying to get him to admit that if a quote unquote black Jew mixes with a white person, then that kid is not an Israelite anymore. But then he got done talking about going on this whole spiel saying, "Oh, the Israelites mixed with Hamites, and the Israelites are black." And I'm like, okay, so if an Israelite mixes with a Hamite, are they also not an Israelite now because they mix with a different nation of people? And
he said no, because we know the Hamites were black. I was like, damn. So like you just equated the, you know what I'm saying, blackness to be an Israelite. I was like, okay.
Mixed with the Hamite, you're good. You're still an Israelite.
Yeah.
Jephite, nope, you're not an Israelite.
to which case you just nullified your whole argument, because at one point the whole world was black. So what? The whole world's Israelite now, or what? No, only if they retain their dark skin. It's like, bro, okay, stop it. So like now, like, bro, it's a mashup of like the Benai Israel, Dante, and Ron Dalton Jr. doctrine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a weird chimera.
Yeah, bro. Like it's a weird storm of brewing. You feel me?
And the thing, and when it comes to like being mixed and all these different things, and people trying to allude to the fact that the Israelites are 100%, I don't know, I guess sub-Saharan African, I don't know. But when it comes to ancient human populations, every single ancient human is mixed. Looking at these genetic papers, when you're looking at Mesolithic human populations, Neolithic human populations, even going that far back in time, 20,000, 30,000 years ago, all of these human remains, their genomes show that they're mixed.
Mm-hmm.
Let's take the Natufians as an example. Natufians are about 60% Arabian, about 21% Ibero-Mauritian, about 6% Omotic, and then 10% West Asian. They have all those different genomes that make up the Natufian autosome package. When it comes to Ibero-Mauritians, they're like 30 to 40% West African Yoruba. And then they have the rest of the percentage is Levantine Natufian related. So they have two genomes. But again, this is proving that ancient humans, a lot of these human populations are mixed. They're not pure-blooded anything. It's just that when a human population settles in an area and starts to basically mix amongst their peoples, it does, the genome does basically settle and become like a set population. But a lot of mixing has to occur before this even happens, But yeah, there's no such thing as like a pure anything. Like every genome of a human is mixed. And I know what a lot of people are probably going to do. They're going to probably pull up 23andMe and show, oh, look, this European is 100% Irish. But what we have to understand is these modern human populations descend from ancient human populations. So we actually break down the genome of like an Irish person. You're going to see Western European hunter-gatherer, which is the indigenous Europeans. And you're also going to see Eastern European hunter-gatherer, which comes from the Yamnaya expansion. And the Yamnayas themselves were mixed. They were a mixture of Caucasus hunter-gatherers, Eastern European hunter-gatherers. That came together. Then they went to Europe. They mixed with Anatolian farmers, which added a third genome to the mix. And then they mixed with Western European hunter-gatherers, which is a fourth genome. Like, humans are mixed. That's the way I'm trying to.
It's a basic math issue because how many parents you have? 2, obviously, right? How many parents they have? So you got to keep swearing that number, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you keep doing that, you're gonna like before you get to like I think 1,300. You're gonna have more people on your family tree than that is on the planet Earth.
Yep, it gets crazy. It gets so crazy. Fam.
That's why no one can say that they're 100% an Israelite in terms of descending from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in terms of autosomes. Like, there's no way someone can be 100% Israelite autosomally. Like, there's going to be a bunch of different genomes. Like, the Canaanites themselves had a mixture of Caucasus hunter-gatherer and Natufian. And the Israelites mixed with the Canaanites. So we know that they're going to have Caucasus hunter-gatherer in them. Caucasian DNA will be in the Israelites. Then you have indigenous.
Wait, hold on. Rewind that so you can define it. What type of DNA?
Caucasian DNA will be in the Israelites because of the Caucasus hunter-gatherer genome that went into the Levant because of the Hurrians became the Canaanites. It's a whole different thing. But anyways.
Okay. I know you was going to bring out the Hurrians, bro. I was counting down.
I got to slip in the Hurrians or something. But anyways. But yeah, the Israelites are going to be amalgam of different autosomes.
100%.
They're not going to be 100%, I guess, sub-Saharan African.
Yeah, fam, that's the thing. And and go check out your man's Aaron L. Hike, fam. For all you cats that they quote him as your main dude when you do his DNA test, fam, like they be like, oh, word, you Israelite cats is like no types of sub-Saharan African. They tell us like, okay, you're 100% Stone Age African, whatever, 90% Stone Age African, 0% Israelite.
Yeah.
By the way, I see a comment by Rami Yahoo that basically says, I've seen Ashkenazi Jews with 100%.
Yeah, like, so, but even then they have like, so if you break up their autosomes, it's going to be a mixture of a bunch of different. Like, so Maya Mbalik, she does that. She comes up 100% Ashkenazi Jewish or whatever. But if you actually could break down their genomes, like you were talking about, you see that they're admixture of all kind of stuff. That's one of the things that people talk about in terms of like the argument. Oh, this is why they're converts, because like they have a mixture of DNA. Like, oh, see, the majority of their maternal DNA comes from Europe and whatnot, despite the fact that the paternal DNA comes from Turkey and the Middle East and blah 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 blah.
Yep. And just to break down the genome of the Ashkenazi, they have ancient Italian DNA because we found remains, the Erfurt remains.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Roman ancestry, but they also have ancient Levantine indigenous ancestry, which is both a mixture of Natufian and Caucasus hunter-gatherer. And they also have indigenous European as well, like Polish and stuff like that. So they have basically Middle Eastern, European, and Mediterranean ancestry. But it's going to come up as 100% Ashkenazi on 23andMe. But like I said, if you get into like G25 calculators and if you get into like genomic breakdowns, it's going to show like at least 5 different populations in the Ashkenazi. Or if you just read the DNA papers as well, which also breaks down the genome within the Ashkenazi population.
Mr. Blacktastic, I just want you to know I won't be kissing nobody's Converse because I got the glow, my G.
All right, y'all. We ain't gonna be too long. I gotta get up early. I wanted to share this with you guys. Hopefully, somebody learned something from this, and hopefully, you know, anybody struggling with the ancestry and accepting it can just get over that. But I'll share this tab here just to give some explanation on the European, some explanation on the European admixture we see within African Americans. So, you know, while I read the words, Avery, I just look at the graphs. You know, words are not important. That's how these people think. But anyway, so we see here the Catoctin furnace where they found these African Americans buried at. We dealt with this study before. We can see a mixture coming from, of course, sub-Saharan Africa and also Ireland and Great Britain. You know, you see spots over here in East Africa as well. Like the brother earlier said that he himself was E2. And this is dated about 1774 when it was established, and it's between 1774 and 1850 is when they were using this furnace. So let's go down to this chart here. We're going to stay here for a minute. And it deals with the mitochondrial haplogroups that were found in this burial of these African descendants, of the African ancestors, and the Y haplogroups that were found. As you can see in the mitochondrial side, you do have a European mitochondrial DNA. So it should be to no surprise that we will have today and present time in America women walking around that are classified as African Americans, identify as Black and African American, but you know, maternally their mothers go back to a European female. And also we have, of course, variation of African mitochondrial DNA, L0, L2, L3, L4. Now, on the male side, on the paternal side of things, the Y haplogroups that we have here is A1B, E1B, and also what do we see there? E2B. You know, which we do see that variation in ancestry in East Africa as well. When we go up here, you do see the dots lit up on the east, going towards the Horn of Africa. So we did find those haplogroups in these African slaves here in the Americas. So, and then R1A and R1B. So we're seeing European introgression, you know, as early as, you know, the 18th century. We see it here. And we're going to deal with some of the literature here explaining that. So let's start here. The sex bias reproduction. The European ancestry of enslaved African Americans originated largely through a process whereby white men reproduce with Black women through forceful sexual relations. I know we could probably get hit if we say that word. I probably already messed that up, but we're going to continue to be mindful of that. Anyway, this gender-based
sexual assault.
Yeah, SA. This gender-based sexual violence contributed to the brutal, systematic enslavement of African Americans and frequently produced children born into slavery. Frequently. So it should be no surprise to see, and we're not saying all people that have haplogroup R that their great grandfather did this. Some of these relationships, which we talked about in prior shows, come from cajoled relationships with people that just fell in love with each other, right? And they had sex and they reproduced that way. We have discussed that. So, but the point is, it happened. Unions between Europeans and African women happened, and we see the result in today's progeny, in today's African American males. We do see it. So it's like, why fight this? This is just what it is. What it is. Like I've always said, the properties of water are the properties of water. Properties of the air are properties of the air. Your DNA is your DNA, and it tracks your ancestry and tells and informs us who or what people group you descend from. It says this pattern of behavior and form of sex bias admixture is reflected in the distribution of mitochondrial and Y haplogroups observed among the Caucasian individuals. 3 of the 16 Caucasian males have Y haplogroups that are broadly associated with West Eurasian ancestry. These include subclades the R1A and R1B haplogroups that are common throughout Europe, indicating that their paternal lineage is likely traced back to a fully European ancestor. You climb up that tree, your family tree, going back to a European ancestor, as we just read. Reading on. In contrast, only one individual, burial 32, has a European associated mitochondrial haplogroup J1B1A1A. This individual is an outlier with respect to ancestry, as they also have a European associated Y haplogroup R1A, 1A, 1B, 1A, 3B, and over 50% European ancestry. Among other possible causes, their spatially separated grave, located in the northwestern edge of the burial ground, may reflect a distinct ancestral origins or lack of relatedness within the community represented in the cemetery. So we have this paternal marker here. We do have the maternal J1B1A marker here found with these 27 individuals that were buried in this furnace. Let's go down. I want to go to the end of the page. I'm not going to hold y'all too long. And there should be towards the materials methods. Here we go. It says here, given the overrepresentation of research participants with European, particularly British and Irish ancestry in the 23andMe cohort, we have even more power to localize the European ancestry and accountant individuals. 8 individuals exhibit connections to Great Britain and or Ireland. Differing frequencies of European associated maternal and paternal haplogroups observed at the accountant indicate that their European ancestry was likely introduced through a sex bias process, almost certainly driven by forced SA or enslaved women as part of the gender-based sexual violence inherent in the U.S. system of chattel slavery. We also observed a single European associated mitochondrial haplogroup in an individual who we estimate to have over 50% European ancestry. This may be one of the numerous examples present in the historical record of enslaved or free Black men having children with white women, often indentured servants. So you're going to see it on both sides, man. This is part of history. This is part of our ancestry. I mean, your genetic code is your genetic code. It makes you. There's no point of hating yourself. You are who you are. Just accept it. There's nothing wrong with that. Real quick, we can deal with let me see. Again, like we brought this out to ad nauseum on the channel as well. A lot of you guys are Afrocentric. A lot of you guys love Egypt. Well, your haplogroup does overlap with Egyptians. As you see here, haplotree.info, ancient Egyptian mommy having RM269. You do have some connected connectivity to Egypt. And as you can see, L3H1 is the maternal side here as well. This is dated 2450. You do have some more R1B here as well. The 20th dynasty, Valley of the Kings, King Tut, and all that good jazz. Someone want to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, but there's a new paper coming out very soon, by the way, dealing with Egypt, and I think the samples are either from the Old Kingdom or the Middle Kingdom, or maybe it's both. I can't quite remember, but quite a few samples are in this new paper that's coming out either this year or maybe next year, and a lot of them are mtDNA chromosomes with some Y chromosomes. But be on the lookout for that. There's a very interesting paper coming out dealing with that. And there's a Green Sahara paper coming out as well.
Yeah, let's get it. You know, we're going to cover it live, so we're going to have it. But I just want to show everybody also, like, again, R1B, great legacy, just like most human lineages are going to have great legacies. You don't have to be down in the dumps, man. Again, a lot of you guys associate yourself with Egypt. A lot of you guys indirectly or directly associate yourself with Europe. Like I told you earlier, Teo believes that they somehow descend from some people that actually do, but they believe that Black people descend from people that, you know, made a trek across Europe and Spain and Morocco, and some of these African Americans, as we're reading tonight, actually do have that lineage. So there's nothing wrong with that, man. Be you. Be proud of you. That's the overarching theme tonight. And even with the Chadic people, I want to just bring this out real quick, and then we can bounce. You guys get your closing statements. Even with the Chadic people, their lineage going back 8,000 years and probably more. Look, Serbia, their haplogroup, their paternal lineage, RV88, going all the way back to Serbia, which is in the Balkans, which is in Eastern Central Europe. We see this there 8,000 years ago. Ukraine, 7,400 years ago, 7,200 years ago, we see that clade. And these people are very much so a sub-Saharan African set of people. So, I mean, it's okay to be diverse. We don't all have to be the same. We don't all have to descend from the same group. And, Abba Bivens and all these people have created a curse in this community where they think we must be homogenous for some reason. Like it's a sacrament to not be homogenous, but we're not homogenous. We are a diverse set of people. We're mixed people, and that's it. Nothing to be ashamed of. You guys should be glorifying anything. A lot of you guys claim so many ancestries, especially like what our history is talking about. Black people, Africans starting China, and they starting this. They starting Europe. They're the aristocracy of Europe. So when you find out that you actually do have lineages that tie back to those places, what's the big deal? It shouldn't be a problem. But hey, that's my 2 cents on that, man. Happy Black History Month. Anything you guys want to say in closing?
Doesn't matter what genome you have, not a salvation issue. I know that. Doesn't matter what haplogroup you have. Doesn't matter what autosome you have. Doesn't matter what mtDNA you have. That's not important to God. So.
Facts. One of my favorite things about being part of Yap Gang is the diversity amongst the group. We all share African autosomes, but we all have different haplogroups and whatnot. Some of us have haplogroup R. Some of us have haplogroup E. Some of us don't have any paternal haplogroups at all. Whatnot. Some of us are L. Some of us are haplogroup A, haplogroup B when it comes to mitochondrial stuff. But we're mad diverse with this thing, fam. And that's a blessing. That's not a curse in any way, shape, or form, and whatnot. Because again, that's what we look like as African Americans, and whatnot. Like, and this is the thing, fam. Like, so lineage, culture, all that's mad different. Like, you could be like Kevin G, for instance, right? Like there's a lot of people. There's a whole bunch of Creole people in this country that are majoritively African American or sub-Saharan African when it comes to autosomes, but they have European mitochondrial and paternal DNA, right? It doesn't change their culture. A lot of those people grew up what you would say, air quotes, culturally African American or culturally black or whatever. That don't like none of that changes, fam. Your culture's your culture. Like just because you found out, you know what I'm saying, that your haplogroup I or haplogroup R won't be able to, man, it don't mean you gotta stop eating grits and cornbread and all that kind, you know what I'm saying, or whatever. Like your culture is your culture, fam. Don't no one tell you what you are.
What's grits? I'm joking, by the way. I'm joking.
Man.
I'm joking.
Wait, man, I bet. Let me find an origin of grits.
Man, you know what I'm saying? The Abbo's gonna tell you that it's Native American, which you know what I'm saying?
Native Americans did it. When we talking about food,
everybody, check this out, bro. Every culture has some kind of grain porridge, fam.
Shout out to the Native Americans. They don't get enough respect.
No, that's right.
Look up Native American, like the foods we eat today that come from Native Americans, bro.
No, that's facts.
And most African Americans have at least 5 to 1% Native American ancestry.
No, that's like, oh yeah, our culture in and of itself in this country is a blend. Like it's a melting pot, just like the country is, right? It's a whole melting pot. Like, so you can look at the gullet, you can look at the different influences when it comes to just Southern cooking, period, right? Because you can see the differences between how it looks in New Orleans to Maryland to like Georgia and all that kind of things, right? And everywhere, like Memphis, everywhere in between and whatnot. And all that has to do with like whoever we were around marrying into it and whatnot, whatever culture they brought into the thing. But yeah. Bottom line is, fam, the phenotype is fluid, fam. Genotype is not. Don't let nobody tell you who you are, fam. I'll leave it there.
All right, we out, y'all. Hey, remember, stay away from pseudos.
We proceed to give you what you need. Not five motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers. As we proceed to give you what you need. Not five motherfuckers. Get live, motherfuckers.
Now turn the mics up. Turn that mic up. Yeah, the beat is knocking. Leave that mic up though. Turn that shit the fuck up. What? Turn up louder. Yeah. Who shot ya? Separate the weak from the opsa. Leap hard to creep them Brooklyn streets. It's on, nigga. Fuck all that bickering beef. I can hear sweat trickling down your cheek. Your heartbeat sound like Sasquatch feet. Thundering, shaking the concrete. Then the shit stopped when I fall the plot. Neighbors call the cops, said they heard mad shots. Saw me in the drop, 3 1/4. Slaughter, electrical tape around the daughter. Old school, new school, need to learn though. I burn, baby, burn like disco inferno. Burn slow like blunts with yayo. Peel more skins than Idaho potato. Niggas know the lyrical molesting is taking place. Fucking with B.I.G. it ain't safe. I make your skin chafe. Rashes on the masses, bumps and bruises, blunts and Land Cruisers. Big Papa smash fools, bash fools. Niggas mad because I know the cash rules. Everything around me, 2 Glock 9s. Any motherfucker whispering about mine. And I'm Brooklyn's finest. You rewind this, bad boys behind this. the light, excite all the freaks. Stack mad chips, spread love with my peeps. Niggas wanna creep, got to watch my back. Think the cognac and endo sack make me slack. I switches all that, cocksucker G's up. One false move, get Swiss cheese up. Clip detect respect, I demand it. Slip and break the 11th commandment. Thou shalt not fuck with North Sea Papa. Feel 1,000 deaths when I drop ya. I feel for you like Shaka Khan, I'm the Don. Pussy when I want Rolex on the arm. You'll die slow but calm. Recognize my face so there won't be no mistake. So you know where to tell Jake, lame nigga, brave nigga. Turn front page nigga, Puff Daddy flips daily. I smoke the blunts, he sips on the Baileys. On the rocks, choke blocks at christenings. Hammer cops in the fire positioning. What? Come here, open your fucking mouth. Did I tell you don't fuck with me? Huh? Did I tell you not to fuck with me? Huh? Look at you now. Huh? Can't talk with a gun in your mouth, huh? Bitch ass nigga. What? Who shot you? Who shot you?